Good morning. It feels great to be back. I've missed practicing with you all this Monday mornings. Let's begin with rubbing our palms together, bringing energy to our palms. Now place one hand over your heart and the other over your lower belly and start making a spiral. So a tiny little circle, but have a continuously growing circle. So we do spirals both at our heart center, but also in our lower belly. Tuning into your body today, how much pressure, how quickly or slowly to make your spirals. And then once your spiral is as big as you'd like it, now reverse it and we'll spiral down the other way. So the focus of our class is really our fascia. So our fascia is this kind of amazing sort of net web of connective tissue that kind of unites, it unites us, right? So that'll be our theme, which is using a lot of twisting and spiraling motions and infinity signs to kind of unite our body. Now switch your hands, whoever was on top, switch it to now on the bottom. And we'll do that same spiraling, noticing that when you switch your hands, you change direction. And just tune in to how it feels in your body to rub your heart center and your belly in these ever-growing spiral. And then once your spiral is as big as feels right, reverse the direction and we'll spiral back in. And then glide your hands on your heart center down to your belly. Close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath so that your belly expands into your hands. And a slow breath out. Let's do 2 more breaths like this. And your next exhale, send your breath from your belly down your legs and out, right between the balls of your feet, your bubbling springs. Taking a breath into our belly and then exhaling down through our pelvic floor, our upper legs, our lower legs, and then right in the middle of the balls of our feet. Just inviting your body to sink into the earth. Let your feet merge, like you're sending roots deep into the heart of the earth. Also inviting your tailbone to soften, so your whole lower body is rooted. And at the very crown of your head, picture a thread of white light lifting you up to the heavens. So in this vertical alignment with our lower body rooted, the crown of our head lifted up to the heavens. Turn your awareness inside your body and just notice. And then opening up your eyes, imagine that your nose is on a pane of glass in front of you, and you're going to start a spiral. So starting with the tiniest little circle, relaxing your shoulders, softening your tailbone, and little by little, growing your spiral. I've been wanting to do a class of all spirals and 8's for a really long time, so I'm excited to share some possibilities with you all today. And then once your circle is as big as feels right, circle back the other way. Trying to imagine that your nose is actually kind of right on that pane of glass in front of you. Inviting your spiral to be soft and smooth. And then slow it down. And then starting with one shoulder, do a little circle. And then the other shoulder. So my Qigong friend Joyce pulleys sort of perpetual motion, right? So your shoulders are kind of going opposite directions. But we'll do those same spirals with our shoulders. So each shoulder is doing its own, but connected, unified spiral. And as your spiral gets bigger, maybe your whole arm and your whole body gets involved. And then once you're as big as you feels right today, then come back and little by little spiral inwards. Softening your jaw as you do this. Lifting the crown of your head toward the heavens. And then slow it down. And widening your stance a little bit so you're about as your hips, your legs are about as wide as your shoulders. And then kind of find a place for your hands, whatever feels right. I'm going to do that spiral, this time with our tailbone. And draw a little circle to start. So another reason to sort of focus on these spirals is one of my live Qigong class students came up to me after our last practice and said, it feels so different in my body when we do spirals, getting our circles bigger and bigger. And if we just do circles that are separated. And so it just helped deepen my kind of appreciation for spirals as a unifier. And then our fascia is also a unifier. So maybe once your circle gets really big, your whole body will dance with the universe. And then when you get as big as feels right, circle back. And of course, the theme of Qigong is always what feels right? So listening, what feels right today. And then so you can not slow it down, spiral it in. And then slow it down. So we'll be doing spirals, but also 8's or infinity signs. So let's try some 8's with our hips. So take your left, right hip and go, and I'm doing mirror image, and so I think this is going to be for you 2 o'clock. Imagine your hip is kind of going out toward at 2 o'clock on a clock, and now your hip's going out to 10 o'clock. And start to trace, again with your tailbone, really an infinity sign or a very sort of wide, skinny 8. I'm just noticing that when you make this 8 with your tailbone, your whole body is sort of also making this infinity sign. And then slow it down. We'll do the same idea, but instead this time start going to the back. So your hips are aiming toward 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock, right? And just do this with sort of playfulness. Remembering to take slow deep breaths into your belly. And let's do 2 more 8's. And then slow it down. And then shift your weight to your right leg. Let your other leg just swing freely. And then noticing maybe your hip, my hip always kind of juts out, so straightening up your hip, activating your glutes, doing a little swing, and then little by little growing as you get used to being rooted on one leg, opening up your hips. Now we're going to shift this movement, sort of really lubricate our whole hip joint. So you're going to turn your hip so that the outside of your hip faces in front of you. And then you're going to turn it so the inside of your hip faces forward, right? So turn. Then you're going to smooth out those transitions. Imagine you're sort of tracing that infinity sign in front of you with your knee, really rooting with your standing leg, softening your shoulders, softening your chest at any time, touching your feet down, deciding kind of how long and skinny or maybe how big your 8 is. And then slow it down. And turn your awareness in the hip that was doing all the fun. And just notice how that hip feels compared to the hip from your standing leg. Putting your awareness smack in the middle of your hips. And then shift the weight to your other leg. So, do we do the swing? I don't think so. So first we'll swing, starting with a little low swing and then little by little. Noticing that, I know for me, that my arms kind of want to join in. And then once you feel like you're feeling pretty rooted on your standing leg, turn so that outside of your thigh faces forward. Now turn to the inside as you stand on one leg, and then little by little, with smoothness and softness, deciding how big or small. Kind of playing around with the edges of your 8 or your infinity sign. And then drop your feet to the ground. And then put your awareness smack in the middle of the balls of your feet. Body, right? So little by little, shifting around so that you're circling on your feet. And now circle so that you're on the edges, the heels, sides, doing that spiral. And once as big as you would like, you'll shift back. So giving a feet massage, but also noticing how your whole body is playing along. And then slow it down. And then lift up your elbows. And just open up your chest and look up at the heavens. Take a breath in. As you exhale, round your back, tuck your tailbone under, bring your chin to your chest. The great bear opens their chest and strengthens their upper back. So exhaling as you tuck tailbone under, inhaling, kind of your tailbone does look a little duck tail, and exhale. And the next time you do this, go over to the right side and take a breath in. And as you exhale, round over to the right. And then inhale back over to the right. And then exhale to center. So we'll include some spiraling as we spiral over to the left. And then exhale to the left. And all of these movements are inviting our fascia to sort of move, lubricating it. Take a big breath in to the left. Exhale, tucking your tailbone. Inhaling, opening up your chest. And exhale to center. And now let's just do it to the front and notice how that feels. Opening up your chest, take a pause. Now on your next breath out, round your back, tuck your tailbone under, bring your chin to your chest. And let's do 2 more great bears at the pace of your breathing. And then relax. Then widen your stance just a little bit. With your feet rooted, turn your hips and your waist. Letting your arms be heavy, like you're wearing a coat, but you didn't put your arms in the sleeves. So these empty coat sleeves are just kind of flying through the air. And sticking with our theme today, letting your twists little by little get bigger and wider. And then maybe including your chin over your shoulder. And then it feels right today, whipping up your heel as you twist even more. Feeling that spiraling all through your spine, right? And then come back to center. And let your arms kind of swish in front of you and behind you. Noticing that you're making a kind of half minutes in each side with your hand in front and your arm in back. Feeling the air on the palms of your hands. Little by little, slowing down your 8's. And then relax. And then widen your stance even more. Shift your weight over to the right. And shift your weight to the left as your hip leads, then your ribs, then your shoulders, then your head. And we're moving the body like a river. Leading first with your hip, and your ribs, your shoulders, your head. Noticing that as you do this, you're making a bit of an 8 with your tailbone. And then include your arms as you stretch, inviting that kind of unifying of our fascia from our tips of our fingers all the way down to the soles of our feet. Noticing as you do this, if it feels right, to connect your breath to your movement. And then how does it feel best for you today? As you kind of explore with this moving the body like a river, making your 8's with your entire body. And then slow it down. Let's do a forward fold. And relax your head and your neck and your shoulders. And put your hands in light fists on your lower back. Inhale, come up, and as you breathe in, open up your hips as you lean back. And then exhale. So doing some hip hinges, inviting the fascia in the front of our legs to just stretch. And this is a great movement to help us not help us, but warm us up for serve some tea. We can serve some tea, a whole tray of tea. So what I'm jabbering about is in your palms, imagine you're holding a tray. And on that tray, a bunch of teacups filled with precious tea. Now you're going to take your tray, you're going to hold it so that your fingertips are actually facing your forehead. Now, you're going to glide your hips forward, and you're going to rotate your hips over to the right as you make an 8. Because now here's your tray, because you want that tray upright. Now, as you glide your hips back, your tray is facing your belly. And as your hips go to the left, so does your tray. So your tray goes over and to your belly, making this figure 8 as you relax your arms, soften your elbows, soften the joints in your fingers. Inhaling to overhead, exhaling as you scoop down, playing around with how big the figure 8 your tray is making. Let's do 2 more. And then come up. So we'll do that same movement. So your tray's overhead. And whatever direction you started, which I think I took you over to your left. I'm going to go to my right, your right, as you turn. And we'll do the same movement, but the other way. Softening. You're holding your tray. Can you do this with imagining softness in your wrists? So your hands are holding this tray, but still your wrists are relaxed. And softening your pelvic floor. Soften your toes as you do this. And let's do 2 more. Obviously listening to your body, how quickly you're making your 8's, how deep it could be, little tiny 8's. And then slow it down. And then bringing your left leg back in a lunge. Your hand on your thigh. Take your left hand and you're going to exhale as you push and twist. We'll do one last stretching movement. This is Repel the Fiery Dragon. So in your palm, picture there's the nose of this fiery dragon and you're repelling, you're pushing the dragon away. Deciding how deep of a lunge, making sure that you see your toes sticking out from your knee, front of your knee. So take a breath in. Exhale, push as you spiral your body, pushing that fiery dragon. Let's do 2 more pushes. And then shift your weight a little bit so that your toe that's facing forward kind of goes over, and back up all the way, over to the side. Go back into that lunge. Push the fiery dragon. It feels right today. Lift your palm off your thigh. Push your palms apart. Lean over and spiral. Feeling that spiral from your pinkies in your hands to your pinky toes. And then release. And then that same movement on the other side. So find your lunge. Put your hands on your thigh. Take a breath in and exhale as you twist. As we repel fiery dragon. Pushing and spiraling into our core. Let's do 2 more. My lied, let's do even 2 more. So twist. Feeling that twist on the outside of our upper legs. Now, shift your weight so that your front toe turns out. Shift your weight back into your lunge. We'll do that. Repel the fiery dragon. Now, depending on your balance today, but if it feels right, lift your hand off your front thigh. Push your palms apart from each other. Lean forward and twist to the left into spiraling dragon. Enjoying that stretch. All of our fascia uniting our whole being. And then release. And then with your palms facing the earth, we do what's called merging the infinite. With your palms, imagine with your intention connecting to that yin, nourishing energy of the earth as you make an 8, right? You're making an infinity sign or an 8. And just softening the muscles in your cheeks. Relaxing the space between your eyebrows. And we're going to take this infinity sign and we're going to come up to our heart and make it a little bit bigger as we merge with the infinite. Uniting the energy all around us and connecting it. You don't need to connect it, just through their awareness. Notice the unity of the energy inside us, with the energy all around us. And we'll continue growing these infinity signs, and this time up about the level of your eye and kind of twist backwards. And this as we merge with the infinite. We'll do one more variation where you turn your palms up towards the heavens, still drawing that 8, but this time with your palms connect to that yang energy of the heavens, that inspiration, clear thinking. It's actually not separate from us. So as we merge with the infinite, that inspiration that's in the heavens is also within us. And then dropping down to your eyes, twisting as we merge with the infinite. And let's drop down to our heart center. Keeping our awareness in the soles of our feet as we root to the earth. Inviting our tailbone to also unite us with the earth. Also unite us with our entire being, and then we'll shift down to the lower belly. And then slow it down. Bring one hand over the other. Bring your feet close together. And close your eyes. And invite your body to rock and sway. And play with the idea of rocking and swaying a bit of an infinity sign or a spiral. Whichever. Maybe neither. Just noticing as your feet are rooted, letting your body just rock and sway. Just like your seaweed, floating effortlessly in the ocean. Immunity and the sea all around it. And then slow it down. Glide one hand up to your heart center. Let's do a little tiny spiral at our belly and our heart center. And then with a slight bow to your head, give gratitude for all that you have. And give gratitude for all that you are. And thank you.